What is up, my friends? You are very welcome along to tonight's Anfield Agenda News Roundup video, and I'm going to start today with a little thank you. As you can see, top left-hand corner of the screen, we have just hit 145,000 subscribers. You're all nuts. Let me just put that out there. I'm genuinely humbled, surprised, and happy. Really happy with the amazing support you guys have given us from the start. So on behalf of myself, Connor, Paddy, Chris, the rest of the team at Anfield Agenda, thank you for your support. Really does mean a lot. With this video, as always, I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section. Do drop a like on the video for me as well. Let's start off with a bit of reminiscing, shall we? It was on this day in 2007 that Fernando Torres, El Nino, made his Liverpool debut. 15 years ago makes me feel very old. I don't know about you guys, I don't know what age you are, the people who are watching, but I definitely felt like a young man when Fernando Torres came to the club. These days, not so much. But you know who is a young man? And you know who's a very talented young man? You know who is a young man? A very talented young man, and a very talented young man who's just signed a new contract? Harvey Elliott. We love that news. Harvey Elliott, to me, has been a breath of fresh air since he's come into the club. I know he had that terrible injury last year, which kept him out for too long, to be honest. Not too long as in we didn't recover him quick enough, but we could have done with the services. And this season's great to see his bright start rewarded by the club with a new improved contract. We got this kid for an absolute snip from Fulham. And since he's come in from day one, he has just oozed class to me on and off the pitch. You remember when he had that horrific injury, he gave his shirt away to the kid in the hospital bed beside him. So many things about Harvey Elliott. He's always speaking about wanting to show the fans how much he cares and show how much it means to him to play for Liverpool Football Club. So delighted to hear the news that he signed a new deal. Fresh off the back of yesterday, we were saying about young Bajcetic signing a new deal as well. Great. These are exactly why we bring in the greatest talent from around Europe to have them develop and blossom at Liverpool Football Club. And I've no doubt both of those two gents, particularly Harvey, obviously, are going to be a huge hit. And I can't wait to see what Harvey has in store for us for the rest of this season. I felt like against Fulham, when Harvey came on, it really did just open up the space for Mohamed Salah with those little flicks and balls over the top. And his energy is infectious. So delighted for Harvey Elliott. Absolutely delighted for you guys as well, my fellow Liverpool fans, that he signed a new deal to keep him at the club. Now, we move on to the bad news portion of good news, bad news. According to somebody who is extremely reliable, Mr. Paul Joyce, he has said that Liverpool have no interest in signing Matheus Nunes. That's the bad news. And I've been honest about this all the time. I said I didn't know. No idea if we were interested or not. The question still is, will we sign a midfielder or not? And I will move on to that in a couple of moments. But there's been multiple reports coming out of Portugal saying that Liverpool are ready to trigger an offer. 50 million euro was mentioned, saying that the player's holding out for Liverpool. He turned down Wolves earlier on in the window, even though Sporting had accepted a £42 million offer from Wolves. That was turned down. And he seemed to have been waiting for one of the two big clubs in England to come in, Manchester City or Liverpool. And it looks like he's not going to get that move. Paul Joyce wrote, despite the injuries to Thiago, to Curtis Jones and to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, Liverpool are not pursuing a deal for Sporting Lisbon's Matheus Nunes, the 23-year-old. Yeah, that's where we are. So no interest in him according to Paul Joyce. And look, we all have our own journalists that we deem to be tier 1, tier 2, whatever you want to call it. But for me, Paul Joyce is one of the best. He very rarely tweets stuff for the sake of it. He's usually precise, to the point, and bang. This story in the Times said that Wolves had shown an interest in the player. They had accepted a 51 million euro offer, or excuse me, that was his release clause. And yeah, he's not coming to Liverpool. So look, we'll move on from that, because I don't know if there's still a midfielder to come, because there's been conflicting reports. And I know you're probably disappointed at this moment in time, as am I, because we'd all kind of start warming to the idea of maybe Matheus Nunes coming in, except for one guy in our comment section. And fair play to the guy. He said that he's not really a Liverpool type midfielder, more of a Pep Guardiola midfielder. Obviously speaking about the fact that I said Pep Guardiola sing Matheus Nunes praises, and he made his point very well. And again, thank you for taking the time to share your thoughts like that, because I do read through them, except for the horrible ones. Don't really read them too much. Right, so let's go with, again, it's kind of good news, bad news, but we'll start off with James Pearce. So James Pearce says, as things stand, Liverpool will look for solutions within the squad rather than signing a midfield before the window shuts. He then goes on to say Liverpool retain a strong interest in Jude Bellingham, but Dortmund won't sell this window. We all know that. We knew about the Jude Bellingham interest. How do we know about it again? Oh yeah, that's right, it was me. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll move on. Look, I don't agree. Not that I don't agree with James Pearce. I don't agree with the club looking to find solutions from within. We don't have enough midfielders. Let's be quite frank about this. We just don't have enough top caliber midfielders to really get us through the season, knowing that we have some injury prone players. Thiago currently injured. Henderson was really lucky last season. Only had 2 games missed, I think. And after that, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's injured, but he's not really going to be in and around the first team. So that's kind of where I question it. The drop-off, and we used to speak about this from the forwards, the drop-off from the first 3 or 4 midfielders down to the next 3 or 4, I still feel is too steep. And I would like to see us address it. Now, I never believed we get Bellingham in this window. I always thought that that would be next summer. But I do think we need to bring in a midfielder. And that being said, I want to talk about another journalist who's been speaking. And this guy said, Ben Jacobs is his name. And he said, they never say never at Liverpool, but they're very confident with their window so far. I think we may see a swoop based on injuries, but they don't buy players for the sake of it. That gives me a bit of hope. He said we may see a swoop. I hope we see a swoop because I feel we need to make a swoop. Other midfield names that I've thrown about, Ruben Neves, as I've said before, is in the final year of his Wolves deal. And no, he's not somebody that everybody thinks would be a good fit, but I think he could do a very good job. 25 years of age. Obviously, Portuguese international. Pep Linders knows him well. You don't need me to keep reiterating the same stuff. But there was another part of this interview, I think it was on the Done Deal show. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure it's something about transfers and stuff. So we went on to say that the people I know at Liverpool tell me the same thing every single year. Their aim at this stage of the window was to turn on Sky Sports News and laugh at the news from all of the other clubs who are scrambling around. I love that in theory, but I do feel like we're being a bit naive. Because we should have learned lessons from the fact that we had a midfield crisis, or excuse me, a defensive crisis that almost cost us a Champions League place. But thanks to the beauty of Alisson Becker's head, Nat Phillips coming in and Reece Williams doing a job as well, we were somehow able to claw ourselves up to 3rd place. This season, after the disappointment that not only we as fans suffered with coming so close to a remarkable quadruple, we felt like, I felt like, you felt like, I think we all felt like, we needed to push on this year, and we don't want to have those so close but yet so far feelings yet again. So I just feel like it's a bit naive. I understand the point that only the right midfielders will do. I get that, I really do. But I don't believe for 1 second that there isn't another midfielder that Klopp likes that could be gotten and brought into the club. That is the only part I disagree with, because if we finish up this season a couple of points behind Manchester City again, there will be another case of what if. And my biggest fear, and I've said this many times, has always been that Jurgen Klopp leaves Liverpool Football Club whenever his contract is up or whenever he decides to move on. And we look back and go, what if? What if we had just done this? What if we had just done that? And I know that sounds a little bit spoiled because we've had amazing times with Kloppo, but I want the best for him. I want the best for the club, and I want the best for this golden era under Jurgen Klopp. So for me, I hope we sign a midfielder before the window shuts, but I have my doubts at this particular moment in time based on what's being put out there in the media. I hope that what's being put out there is just to kind of calm things down so we can work in the background, but look, we'll wait and see what happens. So yeah, wasn't the greatest news today, but there is a little bit of positives, as I said, with Harvey Elliott signing his new deal, young Bajcetic signing his yesterday, and the good news for you guys as well is I will be back tomorrow with another video. At least I hope that's good news. As always, have yourselves a wonderful evening. Thank you for your support, and I will talk to you soon. Much love. Bye bye.